Okay. So I'm going to make some cookie cutters. And I have an idea that I can't believe I've never seen at a store anywhere. And the idea is really simple. I'm going to make this circle here, right? And then I'm going to put a shape in it, right? And then this shape is gonna be the cookie cutter, this inside shape. And it's gonna be connected to that circle. Right, so it's gonna be like this. The idea is this. I'm going to extrude this. So this is going to be, so like this would be the cookie cutter, and then around it I'm going to put a sleeve that the cookie cutter will slide into, and so will all the other cookie cutters, so that I can keep them in a neat little stack. And then they won't make a mess, right? They won't get messy in a big container, because I've seen a container of cookie cutters at the store before, but it's a big container with a bunch of different shapes in it that are unrelated to each other, right? And then they all make a mess, and it's hard to put them back in the container because you can never figure out how they did it. And so you just end up keeping them loose, and then you lose them, and then they get everywhere, and they get all tangled. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a cookie cutter. I'm gonna make a bunch of cookie cutters, a bunch of Christmas cookie cutters, and I'm gonna make them. I'm going to make a sleeve to put them on, and I'm going to put them all on a uniform, identical base. That's what I'm going to do. So don't save that, because that was just a demonstration of the idea. So now I'm going to make a new sketch, because now I need to make an actual cookie cutter. At about the palm of my hand is a good size for a cookie cutter, or is a good size for a cookie in general, and that's about 95 millimeters. So I'm going to make a circle, and it's going to be 95, and that's going to be the size of the cookie cutter. Now I'm going to offset this by about 4, and that's going to be the size of the base that all the cookie cutters are going to go on. I'm going to offset this by 5. That's going to be the size of the sleeve. And then I'm going to offset it again by about 9. And that's going to be the thickness of the sleeve. And now if I'm going to make a Christmas cookie cutter, I'll make a snowman, because I clicked on circle. right? So gonna connect all of these centers, make them collinear, and make it vertical. And I'm just gonna eyeball a snowman. All right. Now I'm gonna trim these. Now I should be able to take an offset. Now the thickness is always going to be 0.8. 0.8 is 2 walls from the printer, and that's going to make it so that everything, and that's going to make it thin enough to like cut through cookie dough, but it's going to make it thick enough to not fall apart. And now this is already technically connected to the base, but I want it to have more secure of a connection there, so I'm just gonna eyeball this. Might as well put that there. I don't know what that did, but that won't work well. Oh, that worked. Okay. So now if I extrude this stuff, including the snowman shape, and I make it negative 1.2, and then I bring up the sketches and I extrude just the snowman shape, remembering to get the entire shape here, because if I don't, then it's gonna screw everything up. And I make it, how does 25 sound? That's pretty tall. How about 15? Okay, I think that's good. So what I think I'm gonna do is instead of making every single one of these with the exact same, let's see, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. Now, in order to print the base, right, I don't want to print the base, watch, or not the base, the sleeve. In order to print the sleeve, I don't want to print the sleeve standing up like this. I just don't like that. Because if I have a lot of cookie cutters and I end up needing a tall sleeve, then that's gonna be on the weak side. But that's not really an issue. But the biggest reason why I want to, the biggest reason I don't want to print the sleeve in this orientation is because I want to put holes and slots in the sleeve. So, sketch 1 is me getting a bunch of ideas. So I'm gonna call this base and base, sleeve, and snowman. So I'm going to go back into the sketch here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a line coming out here, a center point, a line coming through the center here, and then mirror that line. Okay. Why can't I move the line? Horizontal, vertical, delete coincident. Why is that? Delete coincident there. I don't know what happened there. Okay, delete coincident here. Now mirror the line. Okay, now I can judge. Okay. Okay, in order to do what I want to do, I really think that this should actually be greater than 9. I think having a thickness of 5 here will really help me. Does this? Okay, it does. Okay. What is the distance here? 0.2 degrees. I don't like that. I'm just gonna make these equal then. Over constrained, whatever. Okay, cool. So now I'm just gonna measure these. Make them 45. Okay, pattern these. Select this. 4. Alright. So now I can go from here to here. And do the same thing. You know what? I might just do this. Oh, cool. Cool. So now this is what the sleeve is going to look like. I'm going to make it if this is 1.2 plus the 15, that's 16.2 times, let's make it 10. That is enough space for 10 cookie cutters, apparently. And now I should have a total of 5 bodies, right? Body 1 is the cookie cutter, 2 through 5 are the sleeves. Now what I'm going to do is make... Okay, hang on. Now what I'm going to do is make a sketch on this plane here. And I'm going to get rid of the cookie cutter. And I'm going to project all the sleeves. All the sleeve pieces. I'm going to make a base for them so that they can stand on something. I'd like for them to fit in pretty snugly. How about... Yeah, 0.15 should do it. Actually, I want to see something. I've never done this before. How do I do this? User per... Can I double click on this? Ah, okay. If I make this tolerance 0.15. Gap for snug fit, I will call it. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to call that T-snug. Okay. Okay. Now what if I change this to T-snug? Cool. Cool, cool. So what that'll do now is if I go into the parameters, let's see. How do I edit them? Filter the list of parameters. Okay. So I could change this to like 0.25. And look, it says f of x 0.25. That's cool. That's cool. Cool. So I'm going to change that back to what I wanted. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. On the outside, on the outside. Okay, T-snug. That's cool. That's cool. And while I'm at it, let me add another one. Can it be T-snug plus 2? And I'm going to call that let's see, outside. No, I'm going to call that hugger? I don't know. What should I call it? Wrap around. I'm going to call it, let's see, tolerance plus thickness. That's too long. So like this is for a geometry that would be a piece that goes around a piece that another piece has to go into. So like wrapper. Okay, so now if I offset this, and I use wrapper, so now that's 2.15. And if I change this, I could change this to maybe like 1.6. And now it's 1.75. So that's pretty nifty that I can do that. So now I'm just going to do all of this. Negative. Negative. This one. Like the reason I call it wrapper is because like it wraps around another piece, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna put a circle here. Can I constrain this to this? I can. Okay. So now if I change the parameter for this to like 5, right? This has come in with it. I'm going to actually make it 1.6. I do like 1.6. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to make, let's see. So what I'm making here will be essentially a bottom piece for all the pieces of the sleeve to go into. And so this bottom here is just going to keep the it's just going to keep the cookie cutters from falling out of the sleeve, right? It's the bottom. It's a floor. You know what? I really like these parameters. I'm going to add another one. I'm going to make it wall thickness and make it 1.6. And in fact, I'm going to change wrapper to T-snug plus wall thickness. Can I do parameter expression edit failed, invalid string? Okay. Okay. So now if I extrude this, negative wall thickness, that's cool. So I'm gonna go back in the first sketch and do something. Never mind. I don't know what I did in the first sketch. Okay. So now I should be able to get all these pieces together, extruded as one piece. Include that, and get that. And bring that down by... I could probably make this wall thickness too. Yes, I can. That's cool. I need to include with this all of the other bits. All right, bring the sketch back, extrude up these, and I don't know, like 20 seems good. Oh. Good thing I did that, because now this is inside this. Which means that the base here has to be smaller. Has to be... If I put a circle here, no, if I put a circle, let's see, from here to here, this would be wall thickness plus, hang on, first I'm gonna put a measurement here. Okay. From here to here is 10. Let's see. From here to here, now here to here, is 5. And this is going to be the wall thickness, right? Plus T snug. Oh, not equals. Plus. Alright, and now if I measure this, 3 1/4 is pretty good. So now if I get rid of the cookie cutter, I've got, no, if I do get the cookie cutter and I move it upward, and I get rid of this body, but then I bring it back and look at it in this direction, and I get rid of I know what I did. Okay. Plus T snug times 2. There. Actually, I don't want it to be snug. I'm gonna go ahead and add a new parameter and call it tloose. Make it 0.25. Go back in here. Now instead of .tsnug times 2 is .tsnug plus tloose. So now if I look at it, that should be, so if I start a sketch here and I project this and I measure it, it should say 1/4 millimeter. Okay. That's excellent. That means my math is correct. Gonna go ahead, delete this move. Gonna go ahead and start a sketch on this plane, and I'm gonna go ahead and project this plane. I'm gonna put a rectangle. That was 1.2, right? Yeah, cool. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a new parameter. This is a really cool thing that I wish I'd learned about earlier. I'm gonna make it base thickness. Oh, I just realized what I'm gonna do, what I wanted to do is not gonna work. What I wanted to do was to be able to take these cookies out from the sleeve by sliding it like this. By sliding it like this. But the shape of the cookie cutter is going to get in the way of the sleeve, so I don't think I can actually do that unless I make the base really big and the sleeve walls really small, or the sleeve legs really small. I'll call them legs. Because ideally, right, every cookie would fit inside of a 95 millimeter circle. That means that in order to actually do it, to do that feature, I would need from here to here to be 95 millimeters, and I really don't want to do that. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and not do that then. That's unfortunate, because I don't want to make it massive, you know. I don't want to make this thing... Well, I mean, it's not like it's going to use extra filament if I do make it big. I mean, it'll use extra filament for the cookie cutters, though. The cookie cutters will use a lot more filament. So here's what I'll do. This is going to be cookie cutter type 1. Okay. This is going to be nothing. This is going to be base. Base 1. if I go back in here, right, and instead of doing this, I did another circle. No, I did this. What if instead I did this? Right, so then the entire cookie cutter will be in this like square slot instead of a round slot. And I can still make it pretty small actually if I okay. I'm getting too confused with this. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of all of these bodies. Make a new sketch on the origin. Make a new parameter. Call it cookie size. Call it cookie. And make it 95. I've decided I want to get into the habit of using parameters. Okay, cookie. Offset wall thickness. Wall thickness times 2. I think that makes sense to me. Now if I make a bunch of boxes, and make them wall thickness times 1.5. Ooh, I like that. No, keep that as 2. I make another box. This one will be a construction. This one will all be construction. And they will all be touching this. Can I make this equal to this? Okay. And can I make... This is really hard. Wall thickness times 2. No, times 1.5. Make this one equal to this one. Now, the distance from here to here is T loose. And this is T loose. Right? T for tolerance, loose for loose. And then this is going to go into here. I'm going to go ahead and slap this onto here. So this will be the sleeve that it goes into, and it will be interesting because now what I can do is I can put the base No, that's right, that's right. Okay, so now what I was going to do, because I was going to put the so I actually want this to be very big. So I don't want it to be defined by the wall thickness. I want it to be any number I want. It's like maybe 10, right? And the reason I want it to be very big is because this is going to be the thing that this is going to be the part of the cookie cutter that fits it inside the sleeves. And this is going to be the space where the cookie cutter can be, where the actual cookie cutter can be. And something I can actually do is, I'm going to make a construction line here. I might be able to fit that, right? This size cookie on anything. So this is like my maximum size. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a rectangle from here to, whoops. A rectangle that is not a construction from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. I'm going to offset from all of these rectangles T loose on the inside. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and make this right here is going to be each sleeve. And I'm going to have to make them all, even though I don't need them all, because I need to be able to visualize this whole system. If I use 1.2 plus 15 times 10, okay, 1.2 plus 15 times 10 plus like 0.15 times 9. The plus 0.15 times 9 part is for that's for the looseness of them fitting together. So now instead of having a cookie cutter where the base is that, right? Oh wait, hang on. That's wrong because this needs to go like this. This needs to be one body. Does it need to be one body? It doesn't really need to be one body. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to make it one body for this to make sense to me in my head real quick. Okay. So get rid of this, bring back this sketch, extrude this. Like 1.2. Right, and then that is how the so this empty space here is the space available to me for me to cut out a cookie. And then what I can do is, okay, now to visualize this better. Wait. So now if I make a sketch here, I'm going to put a line at the center point here going down. Find the center point of this. Put that there. Put this there and make that vertical. Just cookie. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a parameter. I'm going to call it the cutter base. It's going to be 1.2. This is going to change to cutter base. So now in this sketch, this is going to be cutter base plus T loose times 2. What is T loose? Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And then this I'm gonna make a parameter, call it cutter height, and that's gonna be about 15. So now this can be cutter height plus T loose I think just one should do it. And now what I should be able to do is I should be able to project this okay. That one's not perpendicular. Okay. So now I should be able to make these go to here. And just move this up and down. Then cut it all out. All. So now what should be the case is if I mirror this, or not mirror, if I pattern this, here's the idea, right? I pattern this feature on this, and I use a spacing and a distance of cutter base plus cutter height plus that 0.15 . Right? Then what I should be able to do is if I take this sketch here and I just, no, okay, if I take sketch 3 and I extrude this up by cutter base plus cutter height, so what should happen is I should be able to move this up a little bit by like I should be able to move this like that, right? And then I should also be able to move this out. That's the idea. Is that I should be able to slide these out and grab whichever one I want. So that I don't have to pour them all out. Another thing I can do is just slide them out one at a time so that I only need the one, right? If I suppress this, then I only need to grab them one at a time. So that is another idea. But I'm going to go ahead and Control Z from all of this, because this was just a essentially a proof of concept idea. Because this can go about as far as here. Okay, now I'm in the sketch. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to cookie cutter base. And I'm going to change it again, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a simple little, can I offset this? Yeah. Pattern this around here 4 times. That's cool. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and that's going to be, oh, okay. All that Control Z got rid of the parameters, didn't it? T-snut, yeah, okay. So add cutter base, 1.2 millimeters. Add cutter height of 15 millimeters. Okay, so now grab all that, grab all this, and make it cutter base. So now what I can do is make a sketch here, right? But not here. I'm gonna rename this to cookie cutter base. And then if I can move it and make a copy, I can get rid of this, the base, make a sketch on the copy, and say I want a snowman, which is what I did before, so I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to give him a top hat this time. I'm going to trim it all up. I'm the wrong thing. Yes, yes, I know. So now I can extrude this whole thing. And make that cutter height. What? Whatever. I can extrude this whole thing. Oh wow, the geometry of the face it's on is still there. That's kind of annoying, actually. No, not cookie. Cutter height. Bring back this. And now I have a snowman cookie cutter. And that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to disregard this. I'm going to make a new sketch on the back here. Which, something, no, don't save yet. I've been at this for an hour? Okay. I'm going to start a sketch on the back here. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to project this here. I should also, but that's for later. I'm going to offset this by T loose, right? And then I'm going to put a square around it. Put that there. Put that there. Okay. And then the legs of this thing can be this, right? Or it's part of, can have this, as long as I have a smaller thing that has this. So then, can I offset? No. So if I put a line, no, another one, I'm gonna put another one here. Gonna offset this by T loose. No, not T period. And offset this one. Okay, make this tangent to here, and this one tangent to this one. So pretty much No. So pretty much that much is what each sleeve would have to be. Am I conceptualizing this wrong? I don't think I am. No. Okay, I am conceptualizing it wrong, but this is what the inside of the sleeve leg would be. Offset from this one of wall thickness. Right? Times like 3. So then if I put a line here, right, and a line here, right, then what can I do? I can extrude all of this, I believe, and make one leg. Now if I put a sketch on this and I project this, then I can do this. Cutter base plus T loose times 2. Cutter height plus T loose and if I extrude this away, if I cut that out, then I move this in this direction by what, like? .4. Then I move, okay, so this should touch this because of where it is, right? Yeah, so instead I'm gonna put a rectangle on it. It's gonna be T loose. And this is gonna be in line with this. And in that extrusion, I'm going to include the new rectangle I put on there. Okay, cool. So now if I move this like about here, and then I move it again, and I rotate it about 90. And put another rectangle here, which is also okay, that'll work. And then, whoops, if I delete these movements, and then I take this extrusion and make it two-sided. Ooh, should I make it? I should. And the second side goes down a bit. Call that 5. Okay, good, good, good. So now what I can do is, this was on the origin, right? Yes, it was. So if I find the plane, this plane here, I can mirror this body. Oh, cool, it selected that plane. So now I should be able to get this out if I want without it being so what is the distance between these? 16.95. Okay. I just had another idea. I'm not going to do it right now, but I just had another idea. Instead of making one long sleeve, what if I made a bunch of short sleeves and made them modular so that they stacked on top of each other? Also, I just realized if I did this snowman, the top hat wouldn't come out properly. It would just be a rectangle and not have this. But this isn't an actual design for an actual cookie cutter. This is just for me to visualize how the cookie cutters are going to work. Okay, cool. Oh, I forgot to measure this. From here to here, that's 60.95. Okay. So I'm about to make a parameter. Call it its expression is actually going to be cutter base plus cutter height plus T loose times 3. And its name is going to be sleeve cutout height. Okay. Value 16.95. Okay. Okay. So now if I made this extrusion taller, like say that tall, and then I decided I wanted to pattern this, I would do a spacing of sleeve cutout height plus some distance between them, like 2. And I can make it like 5. And then I could pull out 5 cookie cutters. And so the idea is, if this is going to be... So the reason I was thinking of modular is if this is going to be the way the stack of the way the sleeves end up, the sleeve ends up looking, I might as well just do this much here and ignore like all the rest of it, and then just stack a bunch of these together. And I think that's probably pretty smart. And if I'm going to do that, then what I really should do trying to think, how would I grab each cookie cutter? Oh, I know how to do it. Okay. Okay, so I am going to do the modular sleeve. I think I'm going to do it right now, because I thought of an easy way to do it. Start a sketch here. I shouldn't put that there, actually. I should put the sketch on this plane, because if I delete this body, I'm gonna... Okay. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and take the cutter base. No. Okay. Start a sketch on this plane. Project all of the geometry for this. Okay. And then project the bottom side. Okay. So now this is going to be T loose. This is going to be T loose. This is going to be T loose. Move that there. That's going to be too loose. This is going to be cutter height plus too loose. All right. All right. Gonna mirror this. With this line. Okay. Now can I offset this whole thing? It's going to be wall thickness. Wall thickness. Okay. And then all I have to do, whoops, hang on. Gonna go ahead and add a yeah. Then what I have to do is extrude that symmetric. Just bring it past the cookie cutter. Right. So now what I have is essentially a slot that I can put a cookie cutter in. So I'm going to take the cookie cutter base. Going to get rid of the this one. Yes, because I shouldn't need. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need. Shouldn't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. So now I have everything I need still. So now what I'm going to do is I need to come up with some way of stacking these so that they'll stay together so that I can make this a modular system so that every time I need a cookie cutter, I make the cookie cutter and the sleeve and I just add on to the sleeve because I don't know how many cookie cutters I'm gonna make forever, right? So by making this modular sleeve system, I can have all the cookie cutters I want and exactly as many slots as I need. So now, and in fact, instead of being a sleeve, no, this is a sleeve. Okay. So now how do I want to attach this? Actually, I think I have a really simple way of attaching this. Take this, have this. Okay. Start a sketch on this plane. And now get rid of the cookie cutter base and project this geometry to it. And the same thing on the other side. What? Why didn't it get projected? Okay. So now if I offset this by wall thickness and this by wall thickness, I can extrude this first to here, then change that to distance, and then subtract here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this and this. Minus wall thickness. Okay. So now, what should happen if I change the wall thickness to something ridiculous? If I change it to like 2, everything got updated. And if I Control Z it, that's really cool. I'm gonna bring back this sketch. No, the other sketch, this one. And put these okay. Okay, so now what I should be able to do is I should be able to create a sketch on that same plane again. And I should be able to take this and project it. I really only need this. And I also should need this too. So I should be able to highlight all of this and move it down. Nothing got selected. Okay, so move this. Okay, whatever. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line on this line here that is going to be collinear with this line and equal in length. Now I'm going to put a line here that is going to be parallel to this line and should also be equal in length. Failed to solve. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and, now I'm going to go ahead and measure from here to here. 12.401, and this is 12.401. Good. Okay, so now if I offset this, T-snug. All right. Now I'll do this on the other side. This one's collinear with this one and equal. And this one's parallel with this one. Offset this. Minus T-snug. So now I should be able to just extrude this symmetric. What was it, 110? Yeah. 110 minus wall thickness times 2 minus T-snug times 2. So now if I make a sketch here and I project this, that should give me the information I need. And what does it look like? Good. Now, what is the gap here? 0.15. 0.15. Okay, cool. Gonna go ahead and fillet this because going down to a zero width point is not a good idea. Make that 1. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a parameter. This is the cool thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make a parameter, make it sleeve depth. And I'm going to make it, 110, I believe? I'm going to change this from 110 to sleeve depth. And then this one I'm going to change. No. This one I'm going to change to sleeve depth also. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the sleeve depth parameter and see what happens. If I make that 20. Haha! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out 2 of these at this height and see how well this fits into it. And hopefully that'll get the ball rolling on this project. Okay, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take the cookie cutter base sketch here and measure what in the world this number is. 115, got it. Okay, change this sketch to sleeve. Change this sketch to sleeve modularity, and change this sketch to also sleeve modularity. Name that legs, name this one holes. Okay. And then another thing I'm going to do I'm actually going to do this. I want to see something. Okay, so what this is going to do is if I print it in this orientation, then I won't need supports for this. And I want to see how tight that is when I put it into here. And I want to see if it's tight. I might need to suppress this and change that, which is why I'm doing this. Actually, you know what else I can do? I can split this along this plane. The reason being, I don't need anything other than one leg. So I'm going to go ahead and take this body here, call that modularity test, and I'm going to save this. Going to make a new folder. I'm going to make that modular cookie cutters. And I just realized another thing. I don't need the cookie cutters to all be the same size now that I'm using this like sleeve this like stacked sleeve system. I can make them all different sizes so long as they're smaller than the sleeve. but whatever. Okay. Gonna make a new folder. Gonna name this sleeve testing and save. Okay, cool. And then I'll print that out and see how well this works. And hopefully it works well. Shouldn't be anything wrong with this. Yeah. Then, yeah, no islands ever anywhere. Okay. So I'm gonna save this here. Put this in miscellaneous. Name this modular cookie cutters. And I will see how this works. It only needs to work well enough to like hold a stack of them together with like minimal jiggle. It doesn't really need to like keep things from falling apart when I flip it upside down. So I'll see how well this works, and hopefully it'll work well enough for me to continue on in this path. Alright, I've got 2 copies of the little test piece here for the connection of the 2 cookie cutter sleeves, and it is way looser than I want it to be. So I'm gonna have to change that. I don't know what I was thinking with this angle here. I should just make that a straight flat piece. And I think actually this filament is actually really good once you nail down the print settings for it. I think I can achieve a tighter tolerance than 0.15 for a snug fit. I think I can get 0.1 to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and make those changes then. Yeah, putting that angle there was kind of dumb. Alright, I'm gonna go make those changes now.